Mark. How are you?
Good, thanks. Can you give us an idea of your pitching plans for tomorrow?
No, not quite yet. No, I'm gonna. Ideally, it would be Charlie, but we got to check on him. I mean, both him and Blake did something a little unusual. It's getting hot for Game 5, but we'll see how he is today and hope that he feels really good.
If not, what are the options?
Don't know yet. I mean, I think Fleming. I don't know. Let's talk about Game 1.
Okay, and then as far as Game 1, your lineup 7 right-handers, obviously, and I'm sure that's reflective of what you expect from Valdez. And also, neither Barrasso or Yandy's played a ton of first, but what was the thinking on how you set them up?
Well, you're right. We Bras and Yandy. Bras probably had more reps at first base. We've had Yandy work over there here as of late. I just think with Yandy and the hamstring and the lateral movement, stuff like that, maybe take a little bit more off his plate with all the right-handed hitters that Houston features to have Bras over there. There was some comfort and discussion about that. And then, like you said, with the right-handed hitters, little different scenario than we faced Montgomery in Game 4. I think we assume that Valdez, he's been really good for them, and they're going to try to get him deep in the ball game. They could certainly shift off that, but we anticipate we want to get as many right-handers a crack at him as possible. He's got a really good breaking ball that's tough on left-handers.
Hey, Kevin, how's it going? What kind of kick went into the decision for Fleming and Alvarado as the 2 other pitchers?
Well, we knew that we wanted to add a pitcher to the roster, given the chance of 7 consecutive games, and give us as much coverage. And not sure exactly how Flem's role will shake out in all of this. A lot will be decided upon how guys are bouncing back. With Jose, give him a lot of credit. He's checked every box coming back from his rehab. He was probably ready last in the DS, but wanted to make sure that we had everything available with the up downs, multiple inning workloads, all of that for him. It was an exciting phone call to be able to call him and tell him that he was going to be on the ALCS roster.
He said he lost some weight and he feels pretty good. He feels like his power, his command are kind of there. Did you guys see some of that stuff as well?
You know what? I know he worked really, really hard, and give him a lot of credit for that. Jose has done, a lot of good things on the field for us. Off the field, I think he has taken overall a more mature approach in how he goes about things and the work he puts in on days that he's not pitching. And I do agree that talking to him, he seems like he's in a good physical spot and he's in a good headspace to come in there and help us win games.
Kevin, can you kind of boil down what you see as the keys in this series to trying to advance?
Well, I think we're going to have to limit their offense. They're very, very talented. They don't strike out a lot. That presents many challenges. You look back at the Blue Jays lineup, not comparing the two at all. They're 5-6 years ahead of where Toronto might be, but they've got guys that are really, really good hitters that have established themselves as giving tough at-bats 1 through 9. On the pitching side, limit the free passes, do what we do. And then offensively, we don't have a ton of history with any of their pitchers. McCullers has been around, but there's still not a lot of history. He didn't play a big role there at the end of the season because he was hurt last year. So we're going to have to learn a lot on the fly and be able to make adjustments at bat to at bat.
And I know you touched on the additions. I'm sure it was a very difficult conversation or decision with Ollie. Can you just touch on what he meant to the organization over the last year plus?
You know what? A ton. Just gave him a big hug and thanked him because once he got his opportunity to get up here a year and a half ago, we talk about a guy that made the most of it, pitched in whatever role we asked him, would give multiple innings. He never wanted a day down. If he had thrown 2 innings, 40 pitches, he would be the first to come in and say, I'm good to go today, whatever you need. And, as a team that relies so heavily on our pitching, to have a guy like that was pretty invaluable. Hope he gets some good news moving forward and see where it goes from there.
Hey, Gene, it's Pedro. Quick question. What are the challenges when your hitters only saw 7 2/3 innings from these guys last year, the ones that are still on the roster from last year's ALDS?
they're challenging. I mean, that's where we're going to have to use our reports, our video that we have access to. I know the guys have looked at plenty of the guys, 1 through 13 or 1 through 14 on their pitching staff. And I think there's going to be a lot of in-game communication between the players after at bats. How do you attack you? What do you do? What was the shape of his breaking ball? That's what we're going to have to do to iron some things out and create a little bit of familiarity going into this series and certainly into game 1.
So is it old time baseball, like pre-video?
A little bit. I mean, we've got enough video of them to watch, but I mean, I think most hitters will tell you you can hear all that stuff, but you appreciate it a lot more once you've been in the box and faced them. And we don't have the luxury of that. So there's going to be some in-game discussions, maybe a little more deeper than what we've seen as to maybe playing somebody in our division where there's just a ton of reps against.
Thanks, man.
Hey, along those lines, Zanino said it'll probably also help for the hitters to kind of talk to each other, like the first time they see some of these guys, to tell them what they're doing, the righties and the lefties, that kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's what they're going to do. I mean, we do that on a normal basis, but I think it'll be even that much more just because of the lack of unknown and having that sense in the batter's box and seeing the different release points and the different shape to the pitches.
Gotcha. And was it just the whole circumstances we've talked about a lot, but the idea that you guys didn't have to go anywhere after you won the series? I know it was a quick turnaround, but you stayed where you were. You just came back here, and I assume the Astros moved into the hotel?
Yeah, they came in sometime yesterday afternoon. I think they worked out here. Look, we were fortunate not to have to pack up. I don't think that plays too much of a role in any of it, but we're staying at a really nice hotel. So if anything, we had a nice day off in San Diego where we got to watch college football.
Hey, Kevin, how about going up against Dusty? I mean, I'm thinking you haven't done that much over the course of time, and he hasn't managed in the American League. It's kind of an interesting dynamic.
No, you just have so much respect for Dusty Baker and his career as a player and now as a manager. I mean, you talk about a guy, been there, done that, the way he connects with people. Look, the job that he took on, without getting into specifics, there probably aren't many people in this game that are equipped to handle that. Fortunately for Houston, he is, and just have the utmost respect for him.
Thank you.
Anything else for Kevin?
Yes, hi, this is Kevin. This is Mark in Houston. Want to just ask you about James Click, your thoughts about having worked with him. So, as he said, it's a surreal series for him for obvious reasons. What are your thoughts about having worked with him and going against his team now?
Well, certainly enjoyed working with him. We had many pre-game, post-game conversations. Click was heavily involved in a lot of the things and thoughts that we had to get us here. And you got to give him credit for being in an organization 14, 15 years, whatever it was. He's got his handprint on a lot of this. He knows us well, and just thank him for the help of, when I got hired, I needed a lot of help. And there were a lot of people, including James, that kind of helped me get to a spot where maybe I was more comfortable as a manager today than 6 years ago.
Thank you.
Hey, Kevin, even though you literally couldn't get as close to your players as you used to, do you feel like because of the circumstances this year, you got closer to guys with kind of everything you guys have gone through?
I think yes, I do. And we anticipated that a lot with how everything was going to go down with the pandemic and all the protocols. And look, once we got to the clubhouse, that was home for us. Nobody wanted to be in a hotel room by themselves, not allowed to do anything. So you probably had some more in-depth conversation once you got to the clubhouse, and certainly get to know the guys better. And it's a fun group to get to know.